charges, I taught school. During the dark days of the Civil War, my husband was a Confederate Army chaplain. While he was away serving his country, I lived in Murfreesboro with my father and my family there. J.E. Drongle, John Easton.
He would not rob people from his home county, and citizens did not hesitate to call on him for help against the bushwhackers. He rode a trained show horse that was said to have performed almost impossible feats. One day, when he found a crowd of people on the court square, McDougal rode his horse around a large tree in the courtyard. He began to yell.
Named after them here in Dresden on West Main Street near Bolin Funeral Home. Most of you know the Vaughan brothers as the ones that started Vaughan Brothers Hardware Store, which is still in operation today in Dresden, Tennessee. Well, our story goes back a little farther than that, and while most of Dresden knows about the men in the Vaughan family, our family history is also full of women, strong women who have overcome adversity in their lives. My mother, Miss Gertrude Hewitt Ellis, who's also buried here beside me, was widowed at a very early age when her husband died from the yellow fever epidemic in New Orleans in 1879. Then she supported her family by running a boarding house. She had 2 small children at that time, and she ran a boarding house in order to take care of her family.
Correct that this afternoon for y'all. Tommy Moore, is that you?
It is. Healthy as ever.
Yeah, you on a seafood diet? Seafood, you eat it. I'm Dr. Paul Wade Wilson. I was born in September the 5th, 1905 in Clarksburg, Tennessee. My parents were James and Frances Wilson. I grew up on our family farm and graduated from Clarksburg High School. I then went to UT Knoxville, and then went to Memphis Medical School. After graduation, which incidentally was on the same day as my brother, on March 25th, 1931, I started interning at the Memphis.
Sorry about that, folks. Sometimes when I sit down, my leg goes to sleep, and I gotta whoop it with this walking stick to get it back alive again. See, I hurt my leg one day. Me and my horse and buggy went off a bridge. And I was able to find my way up to a local house, and where I sat on that kitchen table, and they actually set my leg and ankle bone right there. I wasn't much on doctors or pills, but I digress. My name is Lemuel Pottermore. Everybody call me Potter. Born and raised here in Weakley County. My dad and mom were Sim and Prairie Lee Pottermore. And I was a member of the Little Zion Primitive Baptist Church and was an active member. And I was Weakley County trustee from 1916 to 1920. I married Isler Kennedy Moore in January of 1919. And we had 2 kids.
Anna Cole Gaylord. They ran a small farm in that area with my sister Ella, who was 14 when I was born, and Pearl, who was 11 when I was born, and John Clyde was my brother, who was 6. We had a baby sister, Zora Kate, that was born 3 years after I was. When I was 20, World War I broke out, and I, like many other young men in this area, went to serve our country. I was a private in the United States Army during that conflict. Upon my return home, I moved back in with my mother because my dad had died and she needed the help of all of her children. From 1920 to 1930, I sold cars in Sharon. On November 5th of 1921, I married Lucy Hedgecock. Lucy died a short time later. And then on June 29th of 1928, I married O.C. Thomas. Y'all might remember her sister, Polly Thomas Miller, who lived in Dresden for a very long time. We lived on Church Street in Sharon until 1930 when we moved over here to Dresden.
We want to thank y'all for coming to the cemetery walk today. We hope that you've enjoyed your brief look into the past. We hope that you've learned something about the city about the history of Dresden. We hope that some of it brought back pleasant memories to you. As Tommy mentioned just a second ago, this last stop is a new addition. There are many people that have been prominent in the history of Dresden who have left their mark on this place, who are not buried here at Sunset. We will probably never feature those people and designate an actor to portray them, but we did want to at least mention them. So today I'm going to tell you a little bit about these three folks. One is Mayor Fred Rucker, who is buried in McKenzie, his birthplace and first home. Also John W. Moran, buried in Moran Cemetery off the Boylesville Road, a mile north of Dresden. And then Congressman Emerson Etheridge, who is buried in Mount Vernon Cemetery west of Sharon. Mayor Fred Rucker was born on